Welcome to the Honest Hour. I'm your host, Luis Acevedo. And there's quite a bit to talk about today. So, the first thing that I want to bring up has to do with North Korea and Russia. So, North Korea, apparently, allegedly, this isn't something that is confirmed yet, but the partnership between the two countries has strengthened. And now it is being reported by a Russian military expert that North Korea has offered 100,000 volunteers to fight Ukraine, and then also to help rebuild some areas as well. So this is what Igor Korochek, I don't know. Hey, what's going on? So this is what Homeboy, the Russian military expert, had to say. He says there are reports that 100,000 North Korean volunteers are prepared to come and take part in the conflict, and North Korean builders are ready to work alongside ours to repair war damages. And this came out just the other day, I believe yesterday, and it's not been 100% confirmed yet, as I've already stated, but this is, let's see, this is something that's percolating around, and I think that the relationship between North Korea and Russia will only solidify, and that is because the states that are over there are trying to essentially do away with the Western powers. They no longer want Western power in control of the world. And I don't think that that's necessarily a bad thing. It might be a good thing to switch up power dynamics a little bit. So, that's pretty interesting, something to keep your eye on, and just further showing the growing division between the hemispheres, right? This has been talked about for quite some time, the bifurcation of the world, pretty much. Now, there's many different ways you can interpret that. Like Nietzsche talked about the bifurcation of man. There'll be the enlightened man and then the subhuman, if you will. And then there's also the bifurcation in political powers, geopolitical powers. And that's currently what we're witnessing right now. And North Korea, I think, is really going to unite with Russia and China to just shake the shackles off of Western powers that are on them. So that's something to keep your eye on. How is Andrew harmful? Yeah, we'll go into that in a little bit. And I'm going to keep beating home this Andrew Tate thing. I know I said I don't really care talking about other men, but I think this is very important because I feel like a lot of men are going to be misled by him. But anyway, let's go on to the British set to revolt. And I think that this is some grand scheme, in all honesty. So, so there's a don't pay the UK or something as a movement taking place right now, because in Britain, in a little bit, but all right, see you, dude. And the movement is trying to get British people to stop paying their energy bills come October 1st, because there's supposed to be a spike in price, I guess. And they want to get at least 1 million Brits to go along with this plan. And I think that this is an attempt to destabilize the economy, which would then lead into state control over the power, bringing in, communism in some way, shape, or form, or fascism, one of the two. Because right now we could argue that we have more of a fascist state than a communist state. Can we just talk about how conservative society is trash in general? It isn't. It isn't. Conservative society is much preferred over liberal society. I'll let you in 1 second. I see somebody wants in here. Let you in 1 second here. All sides in politics are trash. I guess you can make that argument. But anyway, so they want to have people not pay for their electricity come October. And so what I think, because they're going to say, well, it's going to force them to still give us energy, because if they don't give us energy, a bunch of people are going to perish during the winter months, right? And you could say this is a useful protesting tactic. However, if you think about it, let's say that they don't turn off the power, right? And then what's happening? Well, then you have the energy companies having to be heavily subsidized by the government in order to stay in power. And then effectively over time, the government just takes over control over these companies. And so now then you take away the private company aspect of it, and now it's become controlled entirely by the government. I think that that's ultimately the plan with that movement. Ever live in a social society, you'll appreciate conservatism. Yeah. Conservative societies typically are terrible and war-torn. Look at the Middle East. The Middle East is based, dude. They're war-torn because of the United States. I don't think you understand why they're war-torn. So that's what's going on in Britain, and I don't think it's going to be good for the Brits. Now, the last thing that we want to talk about really quick here is, ain't you an Andrew Tate fanboy? No, I'm not. So the Democrats have passed a bill. Mena has issues because of Western politics. Yeah. That's based on the outside looking in. So they just passed this Inflation Reduction Act. I know we're going through the topics kind of quick here, but there isn't too much to really say on those. I think that's fairly straightforward what's going on with North Korea, Britain, and the Democrats. So Democrats are passing an Inflation Reduction Act, which isn't really reducing any inflation whatsoever, and that's because they're increasing their spending, billions and billions of dollars. One of the greatest concerns about this bill is that it's going to pressure the IRS to target middle-class families more and lower class families because they're going to be expanding the reach of audits and being more strenuous. And they're giving like almost $200 billion to the IRS, and they're making investments into this whole green energy deal, which is, nonsense, but whatever. But I just wanted to clear some things up regarding the IRS getting more money, right? The big issue with the IRS right now is there's an IRS crisis where I'm sure maybe a lot of you have experienced delays in your refunds. The IRS is extremely short-staffed, and this has been going on for quite some time. This is like a long-term problem. This is a multi-year problem that most people are unaware of. So I don't think we should be fearful of what the IRS will do. I think that the IRS has a tough job ahead of them, especially as the economy becomes more and more complex and people keep finding ways to circumvent traditional money making, whether it be through crypto, digital assets, etc. So I don't think that it's a cause for concern, really. I think it's just more so of a fear tactic. Yeah, we know that. We know that Jerry be bad. We know. Private corporation. I think it's in Puerto Rico. Yeah. But they're linked into bed with the government. This is why we have more of a fascist state. This is why we have more of a fascist state than a communist state, in my opinion. But yeah, I think that the IRS is not going to be able to do their job properly, even with the additional funding. So I think it's more of a scare tactic that the Republicans are going to use in order to, win the midterms, even though they could have won the midterms regardless. Increase the IRS in 2023. BTC has to be taxed maybe 2024. Yeah, we'll see how well they do with that, though. I mean, they do a horrible job right now at. I think also the other issue is going to be that the average intelligence keeps dropping. And so the workers that go into the IRS are going to be, lesser quality. And I think you're going to have more and more mistakes. You're going to have more and more mistakes. And these more and more mistakes are just going to jam up the IRS even more. So I don't really think that there is a big concern for that, in all honesty. Should be flat tax like Dubai. Yeah, I don't see any issue with that. Well, that's very contradicting, Jerry B. Bad. To be that in a conservative, very contradicting. So, yeah, I just wanted to touch on that. But, yeah, it is going to increase taxes, though. So have fun with that. I mean, that's not cool at all. But it is what it is at the same time. That's the way I feel about it. Render to Caesar's what is Caesar's. What? Arranged marriages? Yeah, I think arranged marriages are based. So, all right, we got somebody that wants to join in here. And if anybody else wants to join in, we can have you in. Hey, what's going on?
What's going on? Long time no see.
I know, right?
So let's go through your list. North Korea helps Russia. Mm-hmm. Yes, undoubtedly, 100%. Not just monetarily, but psychologically against the American people. 100%. British said vote. I think that last minute that's gonna upset. That's gonna change. I believe on their current path, you are correct. They are set to revolt. Democrats increase taxes. Yes, 100%. No doubt about it. When you take and you give the American people a raise, let's say you take a minimum wage job that's like what, $8.25 an hour, and then you raise them to $15 an hour. Now that difference, they're gaining them taxes. So that's just one way. And I'm not talking the new social programs that they put in and then they start taxing, like carbon tax, for instance. And they want to implement a way of tracking your firearms in your house. Well, that's going to create a database, and that's going to have upkeep and people doing that job. So then they're going to start taxing guns. Yeah, it's going to be terrible. Arranged marriages. I don't know. I don't know about bringing back arranged marriages. Red pilling people is useless. 100%. Are you frozen or are you just sitting still?
I'm just listening. Just listening.
I think you're frozen. Hello?
Yeah, can you hear me?
There you go.
Yeah, I'm just listening.
Okay, there you are. Yeah, I can hear you. Red pilling people is useless. 110%. It does nothing. All it does is sow more dissent. I mean, you can wake people up, but we as people will not band together for some reason here in the U.S. So red pilling is worthless. And I don't know who Andrew Tate is.
Probably for the best.
Who is he?
Some internet guy. I mean, he was a kickboxer. He started a webcam company, became a millionaire, and now he's taken over the internet. He's the most popular man on the internet right now, the most searched man on the internet.
Really? So was I on par with any of it?
Oh, yeah. I mean, so the top 3 topics were on specific things, but so North Korea allegedly is offering 100,000 troops to Russia to help them in Ukraine. The British are, there's a group in Britain, or in England rather, that is trying to unify the Brits to not pay their energy bills come October 1st. And then in the Democrat one right there, it's for the Inflation Reduction Act that just passed specifically. Yeah, so that's just the specific things that I was covering in regards to those topics. North Korea is obviously helping Russia in other ways too. And I said that wasn't necessarily a bad thing. I think that there is a bifurcation taking place in the world right now. The Eastern Hemisphere will eventually take over the Western Hemisphere. The Western powers are failing. We're seeing it right now. We're living through it. I think that the whole British set to revolt as far as not paying their energy bills come October 1st is going to establish state control over the entire energy. And then it's going to devolve into probably communism, maybe fascism. I'm not exactly sure yet. I mean, right now everything's indicating fascism, especially here in the United States. But yeah, and then Democrats increasing taxes. The main concern there was the IRS getting about $200 billion additionally, which is what people were mostly concerned about, auditings increasing for the middle class and lower class. But my perspective is that the IRS is in a crisis right now. They're short-staffed. The average intelligence over the population is dropping precipitously. So the amount of mistakes are going to increase for the IRS, and it is going to cause more issues in the long run. So I don't think it's really a cause for concern. The IRS, just pay your taxes like good citizens and you'll be okay. And then as far as bring back arranged marriages, 100%. I think that would reduce divorce rates significantly. It would make more homogenous families, which is a good thing. And you'd be able to align the resources with families that you prefer a lot better. So I think arranged marriages are extremely based. Red pilling people is obviously useless. I think you hit that right on the head. People only want to wake up if they want to wake up. It's pointless to try to wake somebody up. And if you do wake them up, most of the time you're just making them fearful and scared of the future. which is not good. And then Andrew Tate is harmful because he is misleading young men.
What's he doing to mislead young men?
Yeah, so he's very materialistic. He is a digital pimp, as we called him yesterday, a metaverse pimp. That's his webcam company. He, his started off with his girlfriends, basically showing themselves off and talking with men online for money. And now that's created a huge industry, right? OnlyFans and a bunch of other avenues for women to make money on there. And most of the time, nearly all the time, a man is managing the account. And he promotes that. He actually has a course called the PhD, which is a pimping hose degree. So, he also is very promiscuous, promotes promiscuity. That's very harmful. And yeah, he's just not a good influence for young men.
So this is the guy that owns the OnlyFans site?
He doesn't own it, no. But he was one of the pioneers for the industry, yes.
And I've thought about this in the past. What stops human trafficking that way, where women are forced to do this on the internet under fear or force of duress on live camera? I find OnlyFans a very dangerous thing. That is a very easy way for somebody to hide and still traffic women.
Yeah, so I think we got to be careful on our language here.
I'm sure it's going on.
Yeah, so let's call it OF, and we can just say trafficking. I don't know what's going to trigger the algorithm, but yeah, I think that it's disgusting. I think all corn, if you catch my drift, should be banned, illegal. Yeah, I don't agree with any corn. I think corn is very damaging. It should be outlawed outright, and there should be harsh punishments for anybody participating.
I agree. 100%.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't realize that's who that was.
Yeah, I mean, he has some good things that he says, but he's mostly a gatekeeper. He's being promoted by the machine, if you will. He claims to be Morpheus, that he's outside of the Matrix, right. But he's actually probably one of the top Agent Smiths.
I got you. I understand. You got more people waiting to get in, or?
No, I do not. Not at the moment, anyway. So yeah, let's see some comments here.
That's unfortunate because you guys are actually pretty decent guys. You and that other guy that was here last night.
Mick, yeah, he's my co-host on Tuesdays and Fridays. And then occasionally we'll hop on and do a stream together during the week, but it's usually Tuesdays and Fridays that we come together. And thank you very much. You're a good guy yourself.
Decent guys.
Likewise.
In fact, you know what? I'm gonna go ahead and follow you.
No, I appreciate that, man.
I think you guys are on the right track. I think you guys have a good, solid thing going.
Thank you. I really do appreciate that. Yeah, I mean, that's what we're trying to do here.
Anyway, I'm going to drop out of here. I'm going to keep rolling.
All right, sounds good, man. Why do you say that red pilling is useless? From Jake G72. Because you can't wake people up. People want to be woken up. And if they're on that trajectory to be woken up, they'll be red pilled in their own due time. It's inevitable if they're on that trajectory. So you trying to red pill them, I don't think it's going to speed up their process to accepting red pill. And also the red pill isn't that good anyway. What's it do? It just gives you knowledge. So it's very Gnostic, right? That knowledge will set you free. It won't. Your actions will set you free. And just to have knowledge of corruption, that doesn't really help you. BRB on the other account so I can request. Sounds good. arranged marriages, yeah, 100%. I think arranged marriages should be brought back. Countries that have arranged marriages have a lower divorce rate. You are more strategic with who you're going to marry. The attraction's still there. The kids that are going to get married, the young adults that will get married, rather, they also have a say in the arranged marriages as well. That's a good way to put it. In fact, forcing the issue might turn them off. Exactly. It's a pain. Yeah. So let them just come to it on their own. And then if you just stop at red pill, you failed. You're doing nothing either. You're just a sheeple. If all you care about is being red pilled, you are also in another category of sheeple. So, hey, what's going on? How are you?
Yeah. Not too bad. Yeah, I agree on the red pilling thing. I mean, I used to be that person that, you know, let's everyone get together, let's bridge gaps, let's have a conversations. And I still thoroughly enjoy conversations. But there's so much like that illicit political loyalty these days. And it's on both sides, you know, and people just don't even care about talking. They don't care about exchanging information. It's just like nothing but got you moments, accusations. I mean, it's a horrible, very sad thing to say, but we're not going to change anything right now. We're not. No conversation in the world. It's too bad. We are literally to a drastic point.
No,
and can't red pill.
What was that? What was the last thing you said?
You can't red pill or even blue pill. You know, either way. At this point, it's all about hate and argument, not about conversations.
Yeah, we're at the end of an empire, and so this offers a lot of people who are aware of the opportunity to build. Where a collapse is, there's massive opportunities to build. So that's the next step. Red pill is just it's just the realization that the world's not what you think it is, because you've been brainwashed and programmed in so many ways. But if you just stop there, you become just as useless as the people who are unaware. So the next step is to build and then live more in reality, as opposed to worrying about what they are going to do. Worry about what you're going to do. One of the biggest issues is everybody in the red pill community is like, 2030, bro, they're coming for you. It's like, why don't you make your own 2030 agenda? Why can't you do that for you and your family? You're just going to sit there worrying about what they're doing? Come up with your own 2030 agenda. Come up with your new world order for your family. Don't sit like if they have the capability to do that, you can do that for your family. Don't be a victim. A lot of red pill people and truthers are no less a victim than their quote unquote blue pill people.
Right. I wouldn't recommend doing your own 2030 globalist.
No, that's not the point. That's not the point. Not your own 2030 globalist, but your own 2030 agenda. What is your 8-year plan? What do you want to accomplish in 8 years? What is your 2030 agenda? My 2030 agenda is to have a homestead, own a lot of land, so that way we can have multiple generational housing on my property. And, you know, I would like to keep growing my business that I have, both businesses actually. I would like for them to be extremely profitable, maybe even dabble in some other very service-based businesses. You know, I was a mechanic for quite some time, so probably open up a shop. So, you know, that's my Agenda 2030. And people should be encouraged to come up with their own Agenda 2030.
Absolutely. It's important to have plans or at least goals to work towards.
Yes.
That's for sure.
And red pilling people does the opposite of that. It makes them fearful and reactive. Be proactive.
Yeah, I guess I should have asked you to clarify your definition of red pill before even having an opinion. I didn't exactly know what you meant by that.
But red pill, yeah, so it's just basically the term like in the Matrix, right? It's where you take the red pill, you can see the truths that you couldn't see before, right? So now you witness all the corruption, the conspiracies, all the nonsense that goes on in the world. You are now aware of it. But just being aware of it does you no good. Your actions are what matter. And then if you're just reacting to them, then you're no better than the sheeple. You're none. You are a sheep. You are still a sheep if you are doing that.
It's like all these people, millions of people on social media that sit around and complain but don't do a single active thing to make change.
100%.
That's what kills me.
Yes. And that's what a lot of red pillars do. That's what a lot of them do. The majority, I would say.
Right. Yeah, I don't get into that conspiracy aspect, except for the things that, ultimately are called conspiracy and come true, like things that people just don't see. You can still say New World Order to people and they're like, that's conspiracy. It's like, guys, the president has said it 5 times.
Right.
International leaders have said it. Go look at this website. It's like, it is a plan. You can call it conspiracy, but it's literally information's right there for you. They're not hiding it.
Right.
But other than that, I dabble in the conspiracies. I'm clueless what they say, honestly. I have noticed a lot of conspiracy people, Q conspiracy people are no longer Q people. They're straying away from that. I found that interesting. But you are getting a lot of harassment over the arranged marriage thing.
Yeah, that's all good.
I thought when I was reading it, I thought you threw it in there to make you laugh midway through because it's smack in the middle. I'm like, oh, he's being funny. But no, you're being absolutely serious about the arranged marriages.
100%.
Who's arranging? So the families are arranging the marriages.
Yes.
Is that right?
100%.
God, that's so awkward, though, in today's age.
It's awkward today, but historically, it's always been the way to do it. And because marriage is not, it's insane to think. What's even crazier to me is the idea that only 2 people are getting married. That's not true. It's not true. You're joining families together. Whether you like to admit it or not, you have 2 families coming together. And so Absolutely. What if, and now one of the big issues that you see in today's marriages is, oh, I really don't like my in-laws, or my in-laws don't like my parents, right? So that just makes the marriage even harder. Or a lot of times the in-laws may not like the spouse, which makes the marriages even harder. You have division being sown between the families. People don't take that in consideration at all. And arranged marriages do.
So, yes, it's me. Dee says, I don't trust my family enough to pick my husband. I can relate to that. Absolutely.
Yeah, I get that. That's the issue. Well, society today, we're at the end of an empire, man. So I know you're not a man. It's just, I don't know.
No, you're good.
Just my way of speaking.
I don't do the pronoun thing, so you can call me whatever you like.
But, so it's just the society we live in. Our parents, our grandparents were all brainwashed and programmed, whether we like to admit it or not. So it's very hard to go back to the old ways. But it's not even the old ways. It's just the true ways of doing things. And I think that we're on the reverse of that. We see a change in course.
Right. Yeah, I mean, I see the reasoning behind what you're saying, and the reasoning does make sense, depending on your cultures. There's tons of cultures like Italians and Hispanics. They're very big on family, like if you go to, say, Mexico, you literally just build another level of your house for the newly married and they all live together,
Yep, I'm all for that.
In many ways. I just don't know in this day and age if we could take those choices away from our society,
Yeah, well, you have
maybe say if you want to arrange your marriage, you can. Don't demonize it quite as much.
Well, nobody's saying
and
that you. Sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just saying, and if you don't want to arrange marriage, then don't.
Yeah, I don't.
I don't know, my brain went to mandatory arranged marriages. I don't know why.
Yeah, I mean, I think that it should be the socially acceptable thing. I think it should be shameful to get married without your families arranging it. I think that that's where society should progress to. And the change really starts with the way you raise your children. That's how you change society. It's not by going in there and trying to change governments. You can try that, but the more effective way to do it is just to make more moral families.
Absolutely. Yeah. And a lot of the recent subject matter and debates, I keep saying that everyone's wanting to debate their own opinions and feelings about certain subjects. Mm-hmm. The ideal situation for everyone is to fix our society. And those morality topics that you're debating will disappear on their own. You fix society, fix marriage, fix take out the sexuality that's all around us 24/7 in movies. I'm Gen X, so I remember the time when, TV didn't show sex. TVs didn't say curse words. Now, just turn on ABC News or whatever, like not news, like a TV show.
I gotcha.
You're seeing both sex and curses. Like, it's not good for society.
I totally agree. Well, hey, it's been a real pleasure speaking with you. I got somebody else that wants to hop on in here. So thank you very much.
No problem.
All right.
No problem.
Hey, how's it going?
Hey, buddy. How are you today?
I'm doing well, man. Long time no talk.
No, I just wanted to maybe, I don't know if I'll be pushing back, because you did say, there's a difference between being red-pilled and I call it black-pilled. I think there's a level above that kind of brings you a bit more knowledge and a bit more understanding about the world. And I think it is very useful, and you've even touched upon it, like you're making your own Agenda 2030, you're going off grid, you're trying to live self-sustainable, and I think that's the part that I find useful, not useless. So I don't know, maybe it's just me and the way you were talking earlier about the red pilling. I think there are some people that are caught up on what happened on 9/11 and the Titanic and the fun conspiracy theories that are maybe like distractions, but then there are the ones that are kind of and even just to back up my point about how useful they are, with the knowledge that you get from being black-pilled, I would say you can make life decisions like the ones you're talking about, but also, the coffin sniffles thing. You might have, taken something that you didn't, if you weren't knowledgeable on it. You know what I mean? So I don't think it's completely bad. I struggle a lot with, what you're saying about we're never ever going to all band together. You're never going to wake up the whole entire population or even a whole town or city or country. So it's a defeatist attitude that I have adopted, and I'm quite a pessimist myself now. But I think individual, choices and decisions that we can make now based on our knowledge is very useful. So
I would say that it's not a defeatist mentality. I don't like the way that people frame that. You're being realistic. There's a difference between being realistic and being being defeated. And there's also, I'm very optimistic about the future. By the way, I'm extremely optimistic for those, even those that aren't quote unquote red pilled. I think could have a very, very good future, or black pilled, because of those that are aware and they can build and they can help guide. But that doesn't mean that you should be forcing them to wake up. That's my whole point, is red pilling is useless. Black pilling is useless. And if you succeed, well, what good does it do you? You don't know which direction they're going to go, because there's a lot of lefties who are quote unquote red pilled, right?
Yeah.
So it's like, which way are they going to go? Are they even going to go the right way? And I do think that there is a right way. So I think it's just better to let everybody go on their own journey, and you can help them if they ask you, if they want guidance, help them. But otherwise, I think it's pointless because people just accept those things on their own terms. And just because the whole world isn't going to wake up, I would argue that's a good thing. What would happen if everybody woke up right now? We'd probably have chaos in the streets.
Yeah, I dare say so, yeah. Just another quick question. I haven't heard much about this British group that's trying to get people to not to pay their gas. Can you say their name, or is that a demonized term? Or
no? I think it's like don't pay British. Let me see. British not to pay gas. Let's see if I can find it.
Because that's really interesting. Obviously, because I'm from Scotland, so.
Let's see. Don't pay UK. I think it's don't pay UK. Let's see. Yeah, don't pay UK.
Yeah.
That's what it's called.
Do you believe we're going to head into World War III? Do you think it's going to get, crazy?
Yeah, I do. I think that we're already in World War III. I think we've been in World War III since 2019. Maybe even longer. Some people think we've been in World War III for a lot longer. But, yeah, I think there will be more warfare. I think the United States will experience a civil war.
Yeah.
But once again, I don't think that that's cause for despair or it's even me being pessimistic or negative. I think that you need to analyze reality and accept the hard truths. And just because you're accepting the hard truths on the pattern, so things can change, right? None of this is set in stone, but we all have pattern recognition. And so when you recognize a certain pattern and you start putting the dots together and then you come to these conclusions, you realize that these things are kind of inevitable if it keeps up on the same trajectory. So there could be radical changes, but we're not seeing those changes. So I think that the best thing to do, in my opinion, is I say repeatedly is get rid of all your debt, pay off all your debt, localize your supply chains. Those are the two best things you can do, in my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. Okay, bud. Thank you. I'll jump off now. I'll let the next caller in.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming
Cheers,
up.
bud. Cheers.
All right. So PSYOP is always in play, but the general public is totally oblivious to it most times, yeah. And that's okay. Hey, what's going on?
How's it going?
It's going all right. Yourself?
Well, I'm doing good. I'm blessed. Every day's a gift.
Right on. I appreciate that, man. Yeah. I feel the same way.
Yeah, I find your list pretty interesting. I haven't heard anything about Britain being the British people being set to revolt. But I try to stay up on the news. But even as much as I do, I miss stuff.
Yeah,
Can you tell me what's going on?
Yeah, man. So Don't Pay UK is an anonymous group that is trying to get 1 million British people to not pay their energy bills come October in protest to the rising prices and the government doing nothing for it. I think that this could be wrong, but a trap in that it will just essentially the government will take over the whole entire industry. I think that that's ultimately the plan. It's just to continuously socialize it. But that's what's going on.
That's interesting. Yeah, there's a lot of stuff happening that I've been paying attention to, and I don't know if you can see from my name. I've actually been for the past 2.5 years building my own food forest on my property.
That's awesome.
Yeah, definitely. And one of my big goals that I'm trying to get done, which I got to ride through, give me another 4 or 5 months until I can get my bonus for my job. But I'm going to completely buy my own 3,500 watt solar panel kit, which will be enough to power my house. If I can, I'll go up a step and I'll do 4,800 watts. I think I might be able to do 4,800 because I want room for growth with my grid. But I'm going to put them all together. I'm not even going to go through those solar company. You know how the solar companies will pay you to put solar panels on your house? I live in Arizona.
Yeah.
And it's like a government program where they give you tax credits back.
Yep.
I want to completely steer away from that. I'm going to spend the $10,000 myself, do the work myself, and then when it actually comes to firmly hooking up the lines, I'll hire an electrician to basically just hook it up to my circuit breaker and just tell them to shut off my power and go off grid.
Yeah, I think that that's a very reasonable thing to do. You know, I actually sold solar panels before, so I know how that goes. I know all about that. But yeah, I would say that that's probably the smartest thing to do, man, is, to try to have your own power grid, do it without government assistance. That way you're not beholden to them in any way, shape, or form.
Absolutely, because there's nothing wrong with doing those programs, but the money you pay those companies over the 30 or 20 years that you finance that for is insane. And the bike that they get you with the buy cost, because they can buy these kits in larger amounts for cheaper than anyone else.
Mm-hmm.
So if you can afford, I'm looking at $10,000. If you can afford $10,000, it's the best way to do it.
Yeah, I would agree, man. I think that, when I was going door to door, there were a lot of older people who were antagonistic to solar simply because of, they're either have family, because from where I'm from in the United States, you'll run into a lot of people who had, not a lot, but a handful of people who had coal miners as family members or, working on oil rigs and stuff like that. So real salt of the earth people, and they just think that solar is evil. But what I would always explain to them is I would always take the approach when I would talk to them. I would always be like, I come from the country too, man. So the people I grew up with, they want to be self-sufficient. It's very hard to be self-sufficient if you're relying on a coal miner to make your coal and then give it to this big industry that doesn't care about you. But it's very easy to become self-sufficient if you get your own solar panels. And I think that that's the big thing people do not realize with solar is it actually gives you the opportunity to be sufficient. I know that it's a part of a bigger agenda, right? We can say that it's part of this whole climate change agenda, which I agree with. We should all be dubious of, and it's not the best. But there are good things about it. Just like people complain about the internet today, saying that, oh, free speech is being taken away, censorship, da-da-da-da-da. I think that we have more free speech than we ever had. It's harder to censor than it ever has been. And the same thing with solar power. It's allowing the average man to get out of the system in certain ways.
Right. And it's not like I'm not going to completely be self-sufficient because I'm still going to have a car running off gas. I'm still going to have things that run off gas. So it doesn't kill the market. I would just argue in states, especially like Arizona, it supplements the market.
Yeah, exactly. And then that's another way that I try to explain it. It just diversifies your energy transferring, which I think is good.
Right. So, yeah, definitely. I mean, if you want to check out what I'm doing, I love that type of stuff. But I have like 50 plus fruit trees on my property. I have lambs, ducks, chickens. I started my own tilapia pond.
Wow. That's awesome. That's my family's goal. Not necessarily. I mean, probably to have more so fruit than vegetables. We're not very big in vegetables, but in a lot of livestock. That's long-term goal. I want to be able to have my own butcher, have my own grocery store. Long-term goal, very long-term goal. But I admire what you're doing, and I just gave you a follow, by the way. I hope that's what you show on your TikTok page.
Yeah, it's mainly all that. I have 2 videos that aren't about gardening, but it's only 2 out of dozens and dozens, if not hundreds, because that's what I focus on. Every once in a while, I'll have that off-the-wall moment where I want to make fun of AOC. But it's very rare. Like I said, there's only 2 videos that aren't about gardening on my page.
That's awesome, man. Well, keep up the good work. We need more people like you in this world. We truly do. I think everybody in the United States should have a mini homestead. At least grow the fruits or vegetables you like, and then have a couple chickens. Be more self-sufficient. That's all.
Right. And you can do it because I'm a quarter of an acre. I don't have a ton of land. I'm showing people if you own a city, a house inside the city, how you can do it in an urban space. And my 30-year goal is I want to turn my entire neighborhood. You'll see that I plant on a parkway. That's for free for my neighbors on the outside. Everything there. And I want to turn every single parkway into what mine looks like with fruit trees and have the largest urban food forest in the country.
Dude, that's badass, man. You're giving me chills. You're inspiring me, bro. I'm serious. Like, I wish more people were thinking this way. I do. But it is what it is. And at least you are. And at least, we're getting some people in here who are. That's another reason why we started MOT. We are a media company, but we're a different kind of media company, as you can tell. We're very truth-seeking and family-oriented, and one of our goals is to try and establish, alternative supply chains, right? And I think that's going to be a big thing. So that way you don't have to rely on your big retailers. So myself, I live in an apartment right now, but I help out my local farmer twice a week. And, I do whatever they really need me to do over there pretty much, but primarily shoveling manure, putting it where it needs to go to fertilize the land. And in exchange, we get milk, we get meat, we get butter, we get eggs, all for my labor, so it's, and then I also get a bunch of knowledge from that because I anticipate to have my own homestead someday, as I already mentioned. And I think that if people are in situations like mine, don't think that even if you wanted vegetables, for instance, my wife and I, we grew potatoes, onions, cilantro, a bunch of veggies inside of our apartment before. It's doable. Microgreens are very doable to grow inside. So just because you live in an apartment doesn't mean that you can't grow certain foods. But let's say you don't want to do that. You can help out your local farmers, and they'd be more than willing to accept your helping hand because a lot of the farmers are getting older.
Yeah, so this is I collect rainwater, as you can see right here, for my front and the back house. But these are the fruit trees that are on the property. I got everything: pomegranates, figs, apples, pears. This is a jujubine.
Nice.
Almond trees, mulberry trees. It's still progressing and growing, but this is in this, like I said, 2.5 years. This was not overnight. But I got my lambs back here, ducks, chickens. I've got a turkey over here. I want to get some more turkeys, but I got some of my younger chicks as well.
This is so awesome, man.
Yeah, and I guess someone came up with a clever idea because I have a Patreon for people to support me for $3 a month.
Yeah.
They can sign up, and I want to quit my job, and I want to do this full time. I want it to be my full-time job. I want to start hiring people if I can get enough support, buy fruit trees at lower cost and bulk. But I'll show you what's on the outside for the neighborhood. Well, I'll show you my tilapia pond real quick, too. It's right back here. There's plum here. This pear is, once I take the shade netting down, because we're still in summer, you can see it's already pushing up against it. It wants to hit around like 9 feet tall. Well, not 9, I would say 8.
Mm-hmm.
But I need to get a better filter. I got a larger pump already. I'm just waiting on a larger filter for this because of the algae.
Okay.
But these are my tilapia right here.
That's awesome, man. You're crushing it, bro. You're crushing it.
Yeah, so I got the idea from another live where I was showing people that I can start letting people name trees and animals if they sign up for my Patreon.
Ah, that's very clever. Good.
Right. And I also list everyone on my website as a Food Forest hero who does it as well. Then I'll figure out more benefits I can provide. But
Okay.
this is for the neighborhood on the outside. So mulberry trees again, passion fruit vines. I have these bordered beetles that are killing my passion fruit vines, and it's really pissing me off. They're squash bugs. They're terrible. So I got to figure that out, which people have given me some suggestions, which I never thought of, which is putting neem oil into the ground so that the trees' roots soak it up and it repels them overall as a whole.
Okay.
But, or whatever it is, the passion fruit vine is a vine, not a tree. But yeah, this is a guava I have. It's about 7 feet tall. It's taller than my fence right now, and you can see how it's got a really good structure.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, all this is on the outside for free for the neighborhood, and I want to make every single parkway look like mine.
Dude, that's a good goal, man. And I hope that works out for you. It looks like it's going well so far. And yeah, I followed you, so yeah, you guys should go check out his page. Go check out his Patreon if you feel like supporting him. You know, we need to support what we love. I think that's very important.
Absolutely, 100%. Whatever you believe in, whatever your gift is, it's not for some people. It's not going to be what I do.
Right.
Just go do it, though.
Yep, I totally agree. Well, man, it's been a pleasure speaking with you. I know we had some other people that wanted to come in, so yeah, man, I look forward to your content in the future.
Absolutely, and I followed you already.
Awesome.
I'll jump on in the future as well, and definitely see what I can contribute.
Yeah, sounds good, man. I appreciate it. You have a great one.
You too.
All right. So I know that we had 2 people in the queue at a time. So if I see you guys are out, but if you guys want to hop back in, feel free to hop back in. Would love to have more people on. So let's go through some of the comments in the meantime. The only problem, so that's about solar. Homesteading is the way it is. The government is cracking down on Amish vendors. Yeah, I don't know that that's going to last very long, logistically. And if our daughters want to leave the homestead, yeah, that's insane. They won't want to. We have 5-acre garden. We trade vegetables. Best thing is to get away from the grid. Yeah, and I don't think the grid's necessarily a bad thing. I mean, you're always going to be on the grid some way, shape, or form. But that's good that you do that. Let's see. Algae, yep. Agree with some of this. Disagree with parts. Other pieces are irrelevant. Cool, you're entitled to your opinion. Yeah, I mean, they won't. I mean, I don't think you understand the reason why kids want to get out of their homes today. If societies collapse, they will try to take your food. No, they won't. No, they won't. And who's going to be better prepared to protect and defend and take? Not them. You will be. So, I mean, some areas probably, but it's not going to be as bad as people think, especially if you're way out in the sticks. The city folks ain't going to want to come out there. No kids have dreams of their own. Obey your repressed conservative family. Yeah, I think that's a relatively new concept. For a long time, children did what their families did. It's a new idea to want to deviate from that. It is, historically. And it just destroys families. It's not good. True. They'll be weak. Yeah, that's very true. Right? So you'll be better. So I think there's just this fearful idea out there. Hello, Crypto CR7. That's YouTube over there. Hope you're doing well. So, yeah, I mean, if nobody else wants to hop in here, we're probably going to end it here soon then. We'll answer a couple more questions, hang out for a little bit longer, but probably here in about 9 minutes or so. Forcing kids to stay in the homestead certainly won't destroy the family. Nobody's forcing them to. It's just offering them a better life than they could imagine outside of it. You better not have the internet, LOL. Don't let them know about the outside world. They can know about the outside world. They're like you. It's so funny because people like this in the comment, and I'm only reacting to them because nobody else is in the comment section. Otherwise, I would keep ignoring them because that's what they want is attention. These kind of people just want attention because they don't get attention in real life. But anyway, so it's really ironic because the people that spew these ideas, like what this person is spewing, they are the ones that are actually bigoted, but they'll call me the bigoted one. They will not stay in your late. See, exactly. The obedient always think of themselves as virtuous rather than cowardly. Obedience is a good thing. I don't know why you think rebellion is strength. It's not. Right. Let my ass off. Who is on TikTok to 9 views? See, exactly. Why are you here, though? You're one of the 12 viewers. I mean, you don't even have the courage to make your own content, do you? I doubt it. I can sit here and make fun of you for only having 25 followers. I have like 38,000 followers. So, yeah. We've never achieved anything through rebellion, the human rights. No. Rebellion is useless. It's futile. Because you just end up in a new cycle. Obedience to your government is not a good thing. It is a good thing because without obeying your government, you have no government. And if you have no government, you have anarchy. Are there things that the governments can try to impose on their citizenry that would be wrong? Of course. Yeah, see, troll right here. We got a troll. Obey their lies. I just said that they could lie. They could be corrupted. That's where your discernment comes into play. But overall, you should want the government to be in place. You should obey the law. Why would you not want to obey the law? By not obeying the law, you open up society to chaos. So, yeah, I think this is a very, very sick thought that banhammer, boom. How about anarchy in the government? No, anarchy is bad all the way around. Anarchy is never good. And it never happens in real life because you will always have a ruler. All of Jones' texts have been handed over to January 6th committee. Okay. I only think I disagree with the arranged marriages. Cool. Why? Let me guess why. Because it should be about love, and you should let the two people pick who they want to marry. Because it's only them two getting married. They're not marrying the family. When in reality, you're joining families together. How do you stop anarchy by the government? The government is the opposite of anarchy, by definition. Anarchy, no rulers. Government, ruler. Government brings order. Anarchy brings chaos. They are polar opposites. Anybody who wants anarchy, you should be cautious of them because they're an agent of chaos. Anarchy is chaotic, satanic, and evil. Governments are good. Can they be corrupted? Of course, because they're made of men. Just like I would say churches are very beautiful. They're very good, but they can be extremely corrupted because of men. Okay, then why do you think they're bad? Okay, Thomas Locke. Yeah, I guess you can say that if you want, but I haven't read much Locke. I think I have one book of I think it's John Locke. Unless you're making fun of like Thomas Jefferson because Thomas Jefferson listened to John Locke, whatever. Bring back arranged marriages. It still exists in some cultures, not for everyone. Stay out of it. Yeah, it does exist in some cultures. I'm saying in the Western culture, we should bring it back. What do you do with a treacherous government? Well, I think eventually over time they fail, right? Anything that's a lie, anything that's built on corruption just fails over time. So the best thing to do is just, as I've been promoting, localize your supply chains and increase your morality with your family, have big families, and be valuable in your society, in your local community, providing a service or a product in which you can provide well or do well. And if you really want to get involved, local government. I think you'd probably benefit. From someone finding you a girl. I don't need anybody to find me a girl. I have me a beautiful wife. We have 3 children. Hopefully we'll have 12. That would be amazing, God willing. He's married. Yeah, been married for quite some time. And women have never been a struggle for me to get at all. Never. Never once have I struggled with that in my life. Wasn't an arranged marriage? It wasn't. Who arranged the marriage? Nobody. This is also the stupidity, right? Where you're like, oh, well, if you didn't do it, you're being hypocritical. It's like, no, I'm seeing the reality of the world. I would not encourage my children to do what my wife and I did as far as getting married. It worked out. Most of the time, it doesn't work out. I am minding my business. I have children. And so this is what I will implement for my children. This is my business. I have daughters. So I don't want them to be able to choose any loser to marry. I've never had to ask a woman out either. They ask me. Yeah, I wouldn't say that that's my case. Definitely ask women out. No, you are sticking your snout into other marriages. No, I'm not. I'm saying in the future. This should be the way it goes. Right now, you can do whatever. I mean, you're going to do what you want to do in today's society. But I think in order to improve society, you would need to have arranged marriages. They have less divorce rates. They're more considerate of the family all around. And it's about resources. It's more than just this whole, oh, I love you. I love you. Ooh, it's more than that. What's the Cash App for? Seems like you're just panhandling. You can think that. So take away freedom. Freedom is an illusion for the most part anyway. Oppression is actually good. Oppression equals liberation. And then liberation, this idea of liberation equals more oppression than you can imagine. It's real slavery for liberation. Because then you just become a victim to your vices. So women have less freedoms. Men decide what is good for a woman. Never said that. No, I never said that at all. But yes, the man's job is to protect the woman. So I have authority over my daughters. And when they are, ready to marry, I'm the one that ultimately will decide if they can get married or not, because they are my authority. They are my children. This guy is all about putting out diverse headlines for views. I mean, it definitely helps, but I believe in what I'm saying here, by the way. You said arranged marriages, so yes, you said that. Yes, arranged marriages, cool. Arranged marriages is not about letting a woman choose. It is actually. You have a skewed view on arranged marriages. If you look throughout history, the couples who were going to, that were being arranged by the families, the potential husband and the potential wife, they had a say. This is an ignorant thought. This shows that you have no idea of history. You have no clue of what actually happened historically, because they both had a say. Sometimes the families would even let them try to choose. It's insane. LOL, no, that's how you get daughters that elope and never talk to you again. No, it's because you have a skewed view on the world and you don't understand it. That's what you don't understand. You get this vision from Hollywood. Hollywood has showed you that. You've never seen that in real life. And if you had seen it in real life, you have no clue what went on behind closed doors in that family. But yes, historically, there have been numerous times where the potential groom and the potential bride said, no, I don't really want to be with that person. There's no attraction there. There's nothing. Then you go find another one. This idea of marrying for love and romanticism is relatively new. Not saying you shouldn't love your partner. Not saying you shouldn't have intimacy or attraction between your partner. Obviously you should. Those are very important. But marriage is much more than that. Can you have a sustainable family with this individual? Will their family be a net positive or a net negative to your family? I've been married 20 years, would have done it with or without parental approval. Good. You're one of the few that can do that, but most marriages fail. Most marriages fail for numerous reasons, and one of the reasons being the families not liking each other. Finances being another one. Infidelity being another one. And I think that arranged marriages solve that a little bit. How is Andrew Tate empowering men harmful? He's not empowering men. He's making men weak, materialistic, vain, promiscuous. So he's helping men damage women because he's saying you can be with as many women as you want. That's cool. Women, you have to be selective in who you date because your value decreases. But Andrew Tate requires the women to be promiscuous in order to keep up his lifestyle. And that's what he's promoting to young men. So it's contradicting. And then he also misuses Islam and Christianity to push his worldview. He also has a satanic worldview, which is God is an idea, meaning that God can be whatever you want God to be because God is just an idea created by man. So he's doing the opposite to empower men. He's enslaving men. Andrew Tate is Agent Smith. It's not true, though. Andrew Tate is Agent Smith. God is an idea. God is not an idea. God is real. God is the creator of everything we see. No, he is not. God is very real. He is the creator of all things. An idea did not create the world in which we live in. There are 112 different paths to salvation. I don't even know where you're getting that from. And you may be right. I'm not claiming I know the path to salvation. I don't determine souls. I'm not judging his soul. I'm not judging anybody's soul. I can't determine who goes where in the afterlife. That's not my job. That's God's job. Jesus came for me, if you know what I mean. I don't know. I like your name, though. God is just an interpretation of the higher power. Yeah, so God is not an idea. God is a real thing. God is more than an idea. God is the thing that allows you to live, allows me to live. Way more than an idea. God is in us, if you know what I mean. I think that we have a divine spark. I don't know that he's in us, so to speak, but the kingdom of heaven is within us. I don't know if that means that God's within us. No one can prove that God exists. Okay. I mean that Christian God is the same as all other religious highest power. It is not. There are stark differences. You know, the Abrahamic religions are really the only ones that deal with evil. And philosophically, yes, you can prove God exists. Hey, how's it going?
Hello.
How are you?
I'm fine. Do you remember me?
Good. Yeah, I do, of course.
Right, good. So what's going on today?
You see the topics and you hear what we're talking about right now.
Yeah. I just saw you that you were talking about the God. So, to be honest, I do not believe in God. I see it as a tradition.
Okay.
For me, it's weird to believe in someone somewhere up there would be looking at us every second of our life. And if we done something wrong, we would end up in a hell, burn forever and ever and suffer, but he still loves you.
Yeah, that's because you have a very immature understanding of what people are trying to tell you in Christianity. And unfortunately, that's because a lot of people have a very immature view of Christianity to begin with. So, first off, we have no proof that God, and I don't even think that God would watch everything we're doing every second. I think that he has access to know what you've done throughout your entire life, but it's not like he's watching you every minute, every second. And if you do something wrong, if you do something sinful, which just means to miss the mark, which just means to do something not godly, well, there's always room for forgiveness. And in the more traditional forms of Christianity, there are pathways of redemption in the afterlife. So just because you do things wrong in this life, don't mean that you can't earn your way or work your way out of hell. There's things called purgatory. There's things called toll houses. So these are other redemptive paths that one could take. So it's not like it's binary as you say it is. And nobody can decide who's going to put you where. It's God's decision ultimately.
Yeah, and in my point of view, I see life much more simple than to believe somewhere is the heaven and second part of life after death. I do not believe it exists. I believe if we die, that's it. So if this is it, so we should make it as problematic as possible.
Do you agree that humans are made of energy?
Maybe. We're just alive. I think all people, all life on Earth happened by chance.
Yeah, I don't think it happened by chance. There's too much order for that to even be even for that to be a coherent thought process.
No, I think it is happened by chance because if you think about how long it took to begin life and how long it took to human to become human, it took millions and billions of years to life to evolve to us.
Yeah, well, all that's nonsense, by the way. There's a huge debate now in academia about evolution. No scientist right now agrees on evolution. Nobody even knows what the hell it is.
Then the scientists who disagree should be 0.1% of the scientists.
No, it's actually becoming a majority now because it's so insane. It's a mathematical impossibility to. It really is. It's mathematically impossible in the time frames they give us, even if it was billions of years, for humans to evolve out of primordial ooze.
No, I definitely disagree on it. There's too much evidence.
There is no evidence, actually. There is no evidence.
Yes, it is.
Never once have you seen a species change into another species. Never once happened. Never once. Humans have always been humans. Whales have always... We have proof of this with crocodiles, man. Crocodiles have been around for millions of years. They have not evolved into anything else. They have always been what they've been. Parrots have always been what they've been.
Evolved something else too.
No, parrots, crocodiles, numerous animals have always been what they've been for millions of years.
Yeah, because they had no reason to evolve, but there are little differences from evolution. Different crocodiles. They had larger crocodiles in the past, and little ones and shorter ones, and different.
Yeah, so speciation's real.
Numerous different ones.
Speciation's real, where you can have variations within the species. Nobody denies that. That can definitely happen. But the species is still the species, right? A German Shepherd is different from a Chihuahua, but they're still dogs. They did not evolve to something else. They're still dogs. Humans have always been humans.
Yeah, but
dogs have always been dogs. Cats have always been cats.
No.
Whales have always been
Human
whales.
Didn't exist before. Human did not exist, and we evolved into a human.
No,
with different.
That's not true. Yeah, that's a fantasy. That's a fantasy. It literally is a fantastical worldview. Literally, by definition.
I think to believe in God is real. The real fantasy. It's made up. It could not possibly happen. Someone made us.
Why is there so much order?
Image. If he made us in his image, God would have. I think God would have already died if he managed to make us in his image.
He did. Why do you think we have empathy? Why do you think that we have morals?
Because we are human beings living.
Who gives a shit if you're a human being? Who gives a shit if you're a human being? If human beings evolved from nothing, and why do you care about other human beings? Why do you? I mean, how can you? How can you? If you don't have a higher power, if you don't have something that makes you connected to another human being, I mean, divinity is what connects us all. God connects us all. And that's why you have empathy for people. Because you see the image of God. You see the image of love and life.
It doesn't mean someone may make us to have this kind of feelings. It just is.
And it just is because you have the divine spark within you. Because you don't want to hurt any other thing that looks like God, that is an image of God.
But then God must have already died if he make us in his image.
No, because
we are mortal.
No, that isn't true. I'm not saying that you are God. It's never my claim. To be in the image of God is different than to be God. You can be like something, but that doesn't make you exactly. I'm sorry?
The connection is getting very bad.
Okay.
It's you're lacking a lot. Difficult to hear what you're saying.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you, but it's still lacking.
Gotcha. I'm not sure why. Let's see.
Okay. I'll talk to you later when the connection is better.
All right. Sounds good. All right. Bring back arranged marriages. Really, dude? Really? Yeah, 100%. Who is Andrew Tate? I see the name everywhere, but I don't know who he is. It's not a bad thing. Just an internet guy pretty much now at this point. Just wondering why bring back arranged marriages. Typically, they have lower divorce rates. They include both families. And they take in consideration the resources of both families. Because marriage is more than just attraction. It is attraction, but it is much more than that. You are putting two families together. You are combining resources. So it takes all that in consideration. It helps, in some cases, put a better standing on your family, maybe put them up into a higher social status. And at the very least, you're joining resources. And you also get to understand the other families and see if that's really somebody that you would want to have your children start a family with, right? Would you want those genes to go on in your family? Have you had an arranged marriage? No, I haven't. But I do plan on implementing that for my daughters. I see where you're coming from, and it makes sense. Thank you. So do as I say, not as I do. Got it. No, I mean, that's just the world I grew up in. So basically, you guys are being illogical, because it's like telling somebody who was a former drug addict that if he's telling other people not to do drugs, he's being hypocritical. Or even a drug addict is telling somebody not to do drugs. He's giving them the right advice. It's illogical the way that you guys think sometimes. No, my daughters will have great husbands. My daughters are very blessed. I'm very blessed to have them. It's not a bad analogy. It's a good analogy, because it shows you the insanity of saying, oh, well, just because you didn't do this doesn't mean you can't practice this in the future. Force your daughters an arranged marriage and tell her she has to stay with him. No, you don't even understand what arranged marriages are to begin with. You have no clue what they are. The families work together. The people who are going to get married, the potential bride and potential groom, have a say in the conversation. You have this Hollywood idea of what arranged marriages are, and they're totally incorrect. They won't be the one to choose their husbands. They won't have free will. Yeah, they will. Colts. No, Indians do that all the time, every day. And the Indian divorce rate is like 1.3%. It's not forced. None of what I'm saying is forced. The families work together. The potential bride, the potential groom have a say. It's not like, oh, well, I don't care that you don't like this girl, or I don't care that you don't like this boy. You have to get married to them. No. That's not historically how it worked at all. I don't know, but their laws on divorce are probably a lot better than our laws on divorce. Are they allowed to get a divorce? Of course, divorces have always been accepted throughout history. You guys are silly. You guys are just showing your historical ignorance. There have always been divorces throughout history. But divorces were much more difficult to obtain because the family and the marriage was viewed as a divine entity, a divine entity, a divine thing where life is created. TikTok gives platforms then leave if you think I'm crazy. So yeah, if you are, infidelity is grounds for divorce. Abuse is ground for divorce. Aside from that, I don't know any other grounds for divorce. We just don't know about it. Just asking questions. It's all good. It's all good. But the way you guys are coming in here accusing me, it's hard to tell by the tonality. It's hard to tell in their text. So if you're genuinely interested in having questions, then don't insinuate my daughters are in a bad situation and that I'm a bad father. If you're insinuating those things, I'm going to come at you the way I'm coming at you, because you deserve it then, because you're being really disrespectful. But if you're just genuinely asking questions, that's different. I'll be very respectful in answering questions. But as soon as disrespect comes my way, I will return it. That makes you crazy, plus all the other crazy shit you spouted, like not wasting your seed ever. Yeah, I would not encourage that. Are there times where, yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm not saying that you can't, have intimacy with your woman, with your wife or your husband. I'm curious about the arranged marriage thing. Yeah, what about it? What exactly is your question? Not insane and not a troll. I am definitely more sane than you are. You're just ashamed that you're looking at a superior man who knows how to control himself. Why arranged marriages? Divorce rates are drastically lowered. You consider both families, because when you get married, you join the families together. It's not just two people getting married, it's families merging together. You're joining resources. So you're taking a holistic account into both families, and you're also taking into account the attraction between the potential groom and potential bride. That is not absence out of the process whatsoever. That is a part of the process. If there's attraction between the bride and groom, and there's attraction between the families, that makes for a beautiful marriage. And so basically you just have more vetting going on for who you're marrying. LOL, Trump's too busy playing golf with Saudi Putin's guys to care about yokels. Patriots. Okay. I don't even know where this comes from. Are you a bot? You're probably a bot, because nobody's even talking about Trump whatsoever. Not once, I think, in this whole stream, which is going on for an hour and 20 minutes, has anybody talked about Trump. I honestly think my father would have preferred arranged marriages for his children. Yeah, I do. For my children, for my daughters. Especially the state of men today, and with people like Andrew Tate empowering men. Yeah, I want to vet my daughter's suitors, of course. Yeah, people need to red pill themselves. I can't do that. Well, that's the whole point. They need to want it themselves. There's no need to force it on anybody. What's red pilling? Making shit up, I see. No, I think you're just extremely ignorant after listening to your definition. Yeah, I mean, this is like the historical understanding of arranged marriages. And there's nothing wrong. They're very beautiful, actually. And I think that they should be practiced a lot more. I think this idea of you go pick who you want to marry is ludicrous. It really hasn't happened throughout history. And if it did, it was the exception. It was not the rule. So red pilling is just basically trying to show, is red pilling in the dictionary? Where can I find the definition? You're a troll. So have you ever seen the movie The Matrix? It's a common term. Everybody knows. You either take the blue pill, you go back and you are oblivious to reality. Everything's cool. You take the red pill, you then begin to see the world for what it is. The corruption, conspiracies, the truths, etc. And I think it's useless for the most part, because people will come to terms, come to their own acceptance of reality on their own time. Everyone hasn't watched The Matrix. Fair, but pretty much everybody in the Western world knows what blue pill and red pill is. And you can try to defend him if you want, but, once again, he's being very troll-like, so I'm not going to show any sympathy in my addressing him. I'm going to assume he's a troll. So, yeah, but it's been a good stream. It's been a really good stream so far. We had a lot of good conversation, a lot of good guests on, good comments, good vibe for most of it, that's for sure. I'm going to assume you're a troll. You can assume that if you want. You have every right to. Your thoughts on British set to revolt. Yeah, so it's not so much that, there's going to be like this revolution, but there's this don't pay to UK where they don't want to pay their energy bill come October. I know what the red pill is. It's the rabbit hole of nonsense and fairy tales. Then why'd you lie saying I'm making up words? So you're a liar now. You're a troll and a liar. Got it. Very high quality. So, let's see. Okay, liar. So, all right, guys. Well, that's going to be it for me today. Like I said, I enjoyed it. MOT Media, everything. Make sure you follow us here at MOT News. Follow MOT Today 1. We'll be back tomorrow around 1 o'clock. And, yeah, look forward to it. Much love. Peace.